Number 1 Iron Age Booty Daddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Iron Age Nights. What's going on, everybody? Oh, good Lord, we made it through another week. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing?
Howdy, howdy.
Hello. Oh, good Lord. Well,
Good evening.
I want to give a very special thank you to our guests this week who are in very different time zones than we are and making it happen for us. So thank you guys so much for making it here in the time zones that you guys are in. It's awesome. We have a returning guest this week who brought a guest of his own. Very, very good times. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Iron Age Nights. What, 56, I think we're up to at this point. Oh, good Lord. The numbers keep climbing. One of these days, we'll hit episode... Do we do something special for episode 100, or do we just skip that one? I don't know. We'll find.
Yeah, I think we need to.
We take the night off. We'll have somebody else.
We'll take the night. We'll have the alternates. We'll have the alternates host. Oh, good Lord. Ladies
Nah,
and
it'll
gentlemen.
just be the intro music over and over and over again on a 3-hour loop, and everybody can just wait for us to show up.
I think people would hate the song after that, and I would have to get a new song. I won't do that right now. Oh my good Lord. Well, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are new to the stream, Iron Age Nights is where we bring you a fantastic new indie creator every single week. So if you guys are for some reason tired of like Marvel and DC or what Disney's putting out or what other mainstream is putting out, we are bringing you the alternative to that. And hopefully you guys have a fantastic time learning about our guest and checking out the world that they are creating. And tonight we actually have a return guest. And I'm very, very excited to have Bonsart back on the show. He always classes the place up a little bit. He always dresses to impress. And it's awesome to have him back. But before we get into all of that, it's time to say hello to all of you in the chat. Over on Rumble, we've got Garhump. What's going on, man? We've got Chatsu over there as well. And Skunk's Workshop dropped a couple of members chats. He says, hell yeah, I love Bonsart. He says, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's awesome to have you over there, Skunks. Awesome. My lovely wife, 20 hours. 20 hours early. She says 20 hours early. Well, you've all lost the game. Till next time. Good God. Oh. Horizon Talker, what's going on, man? Mage Leader, it's awesome to see you down there. Silent Unzine, what's going on? Faith, Thomas, hello, how are you doing? Megatonic Audio, what's going on? The Ultimate Kahuna, how are you doing? Periopsis Press. We got Frederick Greenmont down in the chat. Garham, double dipping. Hello. Tim Allen, what's going on? Not doing the goat thing. Not doing the goat. Yeah, no, the goat thing might have to get on hold for a little while. That was actually going to be a thing, and then, yeah, never mind. That's a story. Evely Music, what's going on, man? It's awesome to see you. A.S. Bruner, how are you doing? Jeff Potts. Jeff Potts, also known as The Hedge.
Hello, Hedge.
Silent Unseen. What's going on, man? Resonant One, how are you doing? The chat just jumped on me. That's not good. Oh, good Lord. I've got to find where I'm. Nate. Just Nate. That's he says the mead. Nate, how are you doing? What's going on? Whimsyland. Daniel, how many times do I have to tell you don't fraternize with the chat?
I'm not going to listen to you.
Yeah, that's true. You never do. JVP Music, what up, man? We got Caffeinated Wolf down in the chat. How are you doing, man? Wrangler, what's going on, man? Herman P. Hunter, the Lore Forge. Oh, okay. He switched to his other account. He's no longer Jeff Potts anymore.
Now he's Hedgepot.
He is Hedgepot. Hedgepot. All right. And I think I got up with everybody in the chat so far. And a few people in the chat have reminded me so far that, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys would do me a favor, oh, hey, everybody. Ram. One of the guys has been here for a while. What's going on, Ram? It's awesome to see you. If you guys would do me the fantastic favor of being like Nemo. You go, Nemo, that movie from the early... Yes, that movie from the early 2000s. I know, it's an old joke, but... If you guys would be like Nemo for me and touch that the button, the like button. Be like Nemo, ladies and gentlemen, and touch that the button, the like button. For me, because it tells YouTube and it tells Rumble that you guys enjoyed this stream over here, and it is going to be absolutely fantastic if you guys would do that, because it will bring more people into the show. So, Resonant One, the sub, but that's the Resonant One. We're not going to get into that. That's a different butt. But ladies and gentlemen,
that's a 3-drink conversation.
That's
just 3, huh? Oh, okay.
I was going to say, boy, that's just 3. Wow, you're a lightweight. Okay.
Daniel's a cheap date, it sounds like to me, but
yeah, right.
I'm over here drinking whiskey. Shush. 3 drinks is good.
Oh God. God forbid the
not
day
a pansy on beer.
No. I drink scotch like I drink beer, 12 ounces at a time. It's a very different effect.
Hence 3 drinks.
Yeah. No, you get about a drink and a half off of 16 ounces of scotch, and you're pretty hosed. It's I've been there before.
When Irish eyes are smiling.
Oh God. The Ultimate Kahuna for $5 over on YouTube. Where the super chat says Richard and Daniel have beards worthy of true kings. Bonsart looks distinguished. Johan pulls the clean cut look. Royce also exists. Wow, thank you. Yes, I also exist. Yes. I will say this though, our guests are looking dapper. Quite dapper, so that's awesome. MSK Content Entertainment. Has Bonsart ever dated a black woman? Oh God. For $2. No, good Lord, MSK. I don't know. Bonsart, have you ever dated a black woman? I
have not. No.
Okay, I have also not. Bonsart, it's early in the morning there.
Yes, it's 3 a.m.
Yes. What are you drinking?
We call it. It's called Golden Draak. It's Belgian beer.
You're drinking beer at 3 a.m. in the morning?
I need to keep saying somehow.
Yeah, I was gonna say he has to deal with us, so you know.
Sir, you're a champ. I love you. What? And never mind. Anyway, never mind.
It's the only way to keep up on this show.
I know, right? All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to catch up with my fantastic co-hosts for the week, and then we're going to introduce. I'll probably jump over to Bonsart and have him introduce his special guest, and then we're going to get into what they have been working on lately. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, it's time to introduce the man who strikes upon the anvil of the Iron Age, who is doing his best to highlight a bunch of fantastic new creators. Ladies and gentlemen, Richard from IronAge.media. What's going on, man?
Man, lots and lots of things. So this Tuesday coming up, we're gonna have issue number 3 of Anvil going into pre-order. I don't know if I'm gonna have it up on Fund My Comic in time, just because I've had a little bit of delay in getting that side of things prepped, but we will. It will be available for pre-order through anvilmagazine.com. That'll be the cheapest place to get it. And then I'm also going to be running campaigns on Indiegogo and Fund My Comic as well, if you'd like to use those storefronts. The other, also, while I'm talking about Anvil, I should say that Johan here actually has some artwork that's going to be in there for Mr. John A. Douglas's story, Valiant Storm. So you guys will get to see a little bit of a sneak peek at that this Tuesday, and that'll be coming together very nicely. And
that's awesome.
Okay.
yeah, the other big project that is coming out now, it just was finally announced today, was the Tempered Record or Tempered Records EP First Strike, which is a collaboration led by Jacob Calta with JVP Music, Evely Music, AC Pritchard, and Chill Kid. So we are going to have 5 different songs from each of the artists or each of the musicians there, and then a collaboration. So it's looking amazing. I know you guys are going to find some excellent tracks there, and it will be well worth your time. It'll be launching as a add-on for those, and then I'm also going to have a standalone pre-order through anvilmagazine.com and possibly Fund My Comic. So there's going to be ways for you to get it. It'll be available for download, but the goal is to get enough pre-orders to do physical CDs. So
That's awesome.
I'm fairly committed. I'm like 99% sure we're gonna have a physical release. It's just,
Dude, so I gotta say this. I have to say this, and it is one of the things that I have regretted in the last few months, but I just didn't have the time available. I wish I would not have backed out of that project, because I was originally on this project, but I just did not have the time, nor the recording chops to stay on this project. But I have a very strong feeling based off of the fact that I just bought a bunch of guitar picks that, although I may not be on this project, I will be working on my own music stuff in the near future, because you guys definitely made me jealous, and I'm just like, yeah, I need to do it. But dude, I'm very excited. I was in the first few meetings for this, talking with the guys. There's some amazing talent on this. And because I backed out, I can't tell you what's coming up, but I can tell you I know who's working on it. So I literally know who's working on it, and that's it. And I wish I wouldn't have backed out, because
the goal with and I don't have the website set up yet, but Tempered Records is going to be kind of another branding that I pursue, and one of the goals with that is to keep doing these EPs that are essentially showcases for musicians, and not exactly an Anvil analog, because you can't mix totally different styles of music together on a single album and really not upset people. It's not quite as easy to just turn the page if you're not into something. So these are definitely going to be much more focused on particular styles. We definitely have a very strong metal vibe with First Strike, but the next one up, I think, will be a totally different style,
Wicked.
and lots of opportunities for people to collaborate if they want to.
Oh, Game of Thrones. I shouldn't have backed out on that. But
we did get some epic behind the scenes welding footage.
Yeah, those guys. That's right. Because you guys started this project while I was in the middle of welding, of still putting together my smoker. Yeah. And they're like, all of a sudden they're like, I'd have my headphones in, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh my god, what is that noise? I was like, crap. So I'd have to hit mute because I was running an angle grinder.
Yeah, you were real bad about muting, so I just muted you a lot. It was you come back, you start talking, and I'd be like, all right, I gotta unmute him now, I guess.
Yeah, I will say this. No, I went out, I bought some new picks and stuff like that, and I will be getting back into the music and working on stuff. I gotta figure it out because I've never been good at production. I've always been good at songwriting and coming up with rhythm. But anyway, all of that aside, ladies and gentlemen, we have a man over here who will help your abused story. And abused story, what are you talking? So, okay, so here's the deal, guys. You guys all want to write stories. You want to put stuff down on the page. But the fact of the matter is that because life gets in the way and you guys are constantly putting your story on the back burner, right? So you're starving your story. You're putting it in the corner. It's cold, it's hungry, but life gets in the way and you go, God, I wish I could just pull my poor story out of the corner and give it some food. But when you can't do that, here's what you do. You go over to this man here who will feed your story, who will help you feed your story, who will help you learn to bring your story out of that cold corner that you have cast it into because you're trying to live life. And you hire this man to help you do that from whimsyland.org. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Daniel P. Riley. Sir, are you feeding stories this week and helping the people?
I am feeding many stories this month, actually.
Oh.
Not just other people's, but my own for the month of November, because I'm always writing anyways, so NaNoWriMo doesn't mean anything to me. I decided I was going to challenge myself, and I am on day 10 of writing 2 books at once.
Wow.
Yes. Wow. 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. So I give myself the rest of the day to work on everything else and reformat my brain towards the other project. It's been interesting. Other than that, as I announced earlier, sort of with a little teaser on Twix, I guess I can tell everybody on IAK because I love you guys. No homo. I've been
drinks, right?
Yeah, at least not 4 drinks, 5 maybe. That we'll get a little handsy at that point. No. I will say that coming relatively soon, it may take me 6 months or so, maybe, to get it all finalized and formatted up. But I am collaborating with another creators, not really on social media all that much, to create a series of children's media based around Catholic saints. The concept is chibi art comic adaptations of the stories of saints. It's something that I feel is close to my heart and something that I haven't found out in the wild very much. So I thought we'd give a go at trying something unique. Really excited about it.
There you go.
I really think that getting more children's media is really something that we need to try and work on doing. I mean, I know it's difficult with everything else going on, but I'm glad to hear.
What was so interesting about the idea, real quick, was a lot, as some may know, the things that these people went through and endured in their lives is not really a children's tale, but I think that between me and this creator who's done a lot of work with kids over the years, the two of us can make it so it's not inappropriate for children, but still get the point across and not treat them like they're idiots. And I think that's most important.
Well, and that's one of the things that, when I think about, when I read books as a kid, and again, as I always preface, not because I wanted to, because I was told I had to, because it was a chore, but one of my favorite books when I was a kid, I read it 3 times in a weekend, which was, and people are like, oh, you read a book 3 times in a weekend? Boy, I read books. Yeah, you got to understand, for me, that was a lot because I didn't like reading. But one of my favorite books of all time, still from the time when I was a kid, is Call of the Wild by Jack London. And that book never spoke down to me. It was fun. It was about a husky, his journey, his travel through love and hate and all of those things, but it never spoke down to me. And as a kid, I understood what was going on. And I think that is something that a lot of I put a post out on Twitter months and months ago. There is some background noise going on in somebody's microphone.
Oh, I think it's mine.
That sounds like construction noises.
Yeah, indeed.
Or a lawnmower.
I know. So, but one of the
a
I put a post on
noisy motorcycle.
Oh, there you go.
I thought somebody with a hedge clippers when it was going to
Right.
suddenly lean in from your window and come after you.
But
Nah.
But one
Start chainsawing through the wall.
Oh God!
Yeah.
So
Definitely
do I
sounded
cut
like
the
that.
stream at that point, or do we just let it play out? Like if somebody, but that was one of the things that I made mention that a lot of people need to start building more, and start writing more, all ages content, and and so many people heard kids content, and I said, but that's not what I said. I said all ages. I said stories that adults can read and they enjoy reading, that they can go, oh, wow, this is a really good book here. And they hand it to their niece or their nephew or whatever and say, you should read this.
Yep.
And it doesn't, and I'm not saying use kid language or use simplified language. I'm saying just write a good story that everyone can read. And there are so many people today who just didn't get that. They were like, well, but there's so much little. I'm like, no, I'm not talking about the modern day storytelling for all of these man children that are out there. I'm talking about like the way that classic stories used to be written. I'm sorry, like as much as I don't like them, but like Mark Twain here in America, he wrote Tom Sawyer, Huck Finn. Adults could read those books and have a good enough time with them, and then give them to children as well, and they could still have a good enough time with them.
An inspiration of mine.
I don't like Twain.
I love Twain. I can't help it.
He
But
is-
this was actually inspired by an old series of books that were The Art of Books. So each one was about a concept and told through the lens of a famous person from history. The art of compassion, and would be like Mahatma Gandhi or something. But the art style was very kid friendly, but the writing inside was essentially a short shrift version of a biography done for kids to read so they could learn about these people. And I thought, what if we do sort of a half-page comic on each page showing them in some sort of action, the saint in some sort of action relevant to their personal story, and have the same thing in the bottom half of a more detailed but still appropriate for children explanation biographical text to read as well. So you can kind of hit, the same points, but if the child is more visual, they get the same information from the comic half as the reader would get from the text half.
Interesting. No, I am down. And And honestly, that's the whole reason that I'm doing what I do, is because I have 4 kids. I homeschool, and my goal is to find stories that, 1, I can enjoy, and 2, I can give to my kids. Because here's the thing, I'm going to use a very, very old thing that my dad used to tell me when I was a wee little one, and by wee little one I mean like a baby, still eating baby food out of a jar. My dad, every one of those little baby food jars, my dad would buy them. He would open it up and he would take a bite out of it. And if my dad didn't like the baby food, he would throw it away. And he would say this: if I don't like it and I can't eat it, why would I give it to my son? And I am using that exact mindset with the books and the stories that I'm buying. So I might buy your book, but if I don't like it and I don't think it's good, why would I give it to my children? And
the next issue of Anvil, I'm going to include like a little ice cream spoon, you know?
well, if I get it this time, I wanted the second one. Can I still buy the second one?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can buy everything at the except for
Get
the
a-
morale posters and stuff like that.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But,
Get a little pewter
AnvilMagazine.com.
Yeah,
but does that make sense? I don't know.
little
Bonsart,
pewter
hold on.
spoon that says Royce on it.
Does that? I mean, trying to get children into the worlds and things like that. I mean, I think that's a really big push that a lot of us feel. I mean, what do you guys think on that?
Well, I mean, I think maybe we should also introduce our guests.
I literally, I'm trying.
He was trying to set up the segue,
I'm trying
Richard.
to set up into that. All right, you know what? All right, give me a second. For $10 over on YouTube, Mage Leader for $10 says, I can't stay too long tonight. Have to work on my second novel. Hey, there you go.
Attaboy.
Well, I have time, but I wanted to drop in and show my support. Hail and good night. Awesome, man. Thank you so much. All right, now I'm gonna do the thing because Richard totally screwed it up.
I was waiting, and then I was like, no, I'm just gonna step on it.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, returning guest and a man who does some fantastic work and pushes himself constantly, Mr. Bonsart Bachl of Radio Retrofuture, the Association of Ishtar. How are you doing, man? It's been a while.
Yeah. Like half a year, I think.
It's been quite a while.
Well, it was just about the last daylight savings time change.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So I was
my
very
goodness.
happy, and now this time I knew, like, okay, it's 3 a.m. That's what YouTube says. So
That's okay. Yeah. Oh my God. No,
and it was funny because for some reason the link led me to episode 22, which was the last time I was on. So I was like, what? Wait, what's wrong here? Why is this happening? So it was very weird.
That's strange. Okay, I've got to say this. So if you guys want to see the first time that Bonsart was on, I'm dropping the link for the ADWC replay channel where you guys can go and watch all of the old Iron Age Nights episodes. I wish I didn't have to move them over to a different channel, but YouTube is weird. But man, you've got some stuff going on, and you also have you brought another guest with you, Bonsart. Who is this mysterious man that you brought with you?
Well, Johan, please introduce yourself.
Hello, I am an illustrator and also a comic artist. So yeah, I am working here with Bonsart here, and I've been doing the illustration for the Styx novels, and from the first project Bonsart did. What is it? The coloring book. Yeah,
With
Yeah,
this is
that
art
one.
by Neutron War, but it also has art by
Yeah.
Johan as well. Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I live in,
cool.
as you know, I live in Indonesia. It's 9:30 in the morning here. So
Oh,
I'm
so you're
basically
much
a
more
different
refreshed
day
than.
than yours.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say you're much more refreshed than we are.
yeah,
We've got a nice
yeah.
spread
Maybe
here all across the globe here.
sorry, the lighting is horrible.
Never
Yeah,
apologize. Never apologize for that. I'm
yeah.
glad that you're here. Now, when Bonsart reached out,
Okay. Yeah, glad
the
to
other
be here.
day, he was like, "Hey,
And I
is it
think
okay
I've
if
met
I?"
with Rich. Yeah,
Oh, go on,
I think
go on.
I've met with Richard too. We correspond each other, right?
Yeah.
In the email.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
we've
yeah, yeah.
connected
Nice to meet
there.
you. Now I can see.
Yes,
Now I can see
exactly.
your face.
For
Am I
better or
the
Nice to
worse,
meet
there
you.
it is.
Yeah.
am I the only
Yes.
one? Am I the last person to just meet everybody on this stream? Because like so many times, like, oh no, yeah, we've already all met each other. I'm like, wow, I am just the guy that like, wow, okay. I just do the YouTube channel. That's all. Everybody else, you guys are all networking and making things happen, and here I am, just, you know, doing a YouTube channel.
Being the
So-
Iron Age booty daddy. It's a hard life.
Number 1 Iron Age booty daddy.
Yep.
All right. Well, before the show goes off the rails too much, Bonsart, you have some new things that you're working on, and I would be very, very excited to see what you're working on. So, do me a favor, and if you would drop a link, which you already did. Yes, awesome. Okay, awesome. You've got a Kickstarter.
Right. Yes.
And I'm going to open up the Kickstarter real quick. And it looks like you got a trailer here too. We're going to play that trailer. And then I want you guys to talk about this because out of everybody that we have had on the show, you're the only one who is doing something that is more steampunk inspired. I don't actually think we've had another steampunk creator on the show. Out of the last year that we have done, I think you're the only one. And that makes it very special. And I want to touch base with you, but I want to ask you I want to ask you a question after we watch this trailer. Okay. So let's get into this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's watch the trailer from Bonsart's Kickstarter. All right, here we go.
1791. A celestial anomaly appeared in the heavens above. The Elysium megastructure, vast and enigmatic, loomed in the orbit of the moon, defying explanation. From whence it came, none could say. Some believed it always had been there, hidden among the stars, biding its time to re-emerge. In 1822, a visionary named Ghulam Ali embarked on a daring mission to unlock the secrets of the Elysium object. But his quest ended in tragedy, with rockets lost to the fickle tendrils of fate. Ghulam Ali, once revered, became a reclusive figure on the Babylon Project, his private platform in the middle of the Atlantic, where it lived in solitude for 50 years, until the world had need of him again. Unannounced, a powerful figure of influence knocks on the palace's gates to deliver her demands, whatever those might be. Unravel the mysteries of the Elysium megastructure, discover the secrets of archaeology, a city like no other, where refugees from lost worlds forge new identities. Join us on a journey to Elysium, where science fiction, steampunk, and fantasy collide in a tale inspired by Jules Verne, Moebius, and Robert E. Howard. Prepare to embark on an epic adventure like no other. Support Journey to Elysium on Kickstarter and become part of the Association of Ishtar Multiverse.
All right. So, first things first, I see why you got Johan. Holy crap, that artwork is killer. And the second thing, and this is where my question comes in. Why is it that with as interesting as steampunk can be, why is it that more people are not releasing steampunk inspired stories? Why is it that you're the only steampunk inspired creator that we've had on Iron Age Nights in over a year of doing this show? What do you think that the barrier for steampunk is?
Well, actually, there's a lot of steampunk related projects, especially in the gaming space. Although most of it is arguably more fantasy with a clockwork skin. But I think there is a lot of interest in it. At least that's the vibe that I get from a lot of shows that I'm on. People always say how much they love, or at least they love the steampunk aesthetic. Um, but I think it's also a problem within the genre, or rather the various things that steampunk entails. Because, and I cannot stress this enough during my own videos, for those who want to learn more about steampunk, or at least my take of it, I have a YouTube channel called Retrofuture with the Steampunk Beginner's Guide. It has a whole documentary series on steampunk and its history, and its various aspects, also as a genre. But steampunk can mean one of three things. It can mean the genre, it can mean the aesthetics, or it can mean like the costume culture. And those are separate but different things. Um, and so that's an issue that people talk about steampunk because of this one thing that makes it very confusing. Then you've got like costume culture that's very focused on itself. It's very focused on the social aspect. I notice that in particular the English costume culture is very oriented on their own social cliques, and there is very little interaction worldwide. I mean, yeah, it's kind of a worldwide movement, but everyone is on their own island, so there's very
Mm.
collaboration from within that sphere. And genre-wise, it's a very particular genre because where steampunk authors get their inspiration from is so varied. I mean, yeah, often it's history, often it's science fiction. And that's what is, for me, science fiction is cyberpunk in the past. And yeah, it's very, yeah, they're all very Einzelgangers. They're all people doing their own thing. They're not really focused on big things. But among steampunk inspired authors, there are a lot of bestsellers. I'm not one of them yet, but
Yet.
unfortunately. But
Yet.
yeah, I'm working on it.
Well,
Yeah,
and
and
not only are
finally,
you working on just authoring, but uh, if I remember correctly, and I may not, and if I don't remember, let me know. But you're not just writing the books or now doing a comic. You're also doing tabletop as well, and you're one of the few, and there have been a few people that we've had on the show, but you're one of the few that you're doing a multimedia franchise. You're doing books and tabletop and now a comic, and all of this can tie together so people who really want to just lose themselves in what you're doing can lose themselves in multiple different ways. I mean, and the amount of different mediums that you're working in is fairly extensive. I don't, did I touch on all of them? Tabletop, novels, comics? Is there, well, no, you were doing miniatures as well. Were you doing miniature figurines as well?
Yes. A matter of fact, if you go to the
shit.
Kickstarter, we offer the STLs now, so you can get the STLs. The bookends are like 10 euros per pair, and then you can print them at any size that you want. And I remember that you had interest in that, Royce. And we also have 4 different miniatures at the moment. And yeah, so these are characters from the books, from the novels. We did not get enough followers to justify investing in new miniatures, but yeah, I hope to get more of them out there in the future as well. But yeah, we need to, that's why we're doing the Kickstarter, to make things like that happen. So it's focused on the comic right now, on issue number 1 of Journey to Elysium. It's kind of a prequel, as it is very early in the timeline of the Association of Ishtar universe. The events here are mentioned in some of the novels, but yeah, I forgot where I was going with that. But yeah, there are various tiers that include like the digital STLs. We've got a coloring book, which was my first Kickstarter. It was me learning how to commission art, and it contains art from people familiar to the show as well, like Neutron Boar. And in the final week, speaking of Tales for All Ages, we'll also have a surprise book launch, Enwin, which is about a doll coming to life. And
nope, I'm out. Nope, doll's coming to life. Nope, I just.
All
she's
ages,
the
but
most
then you get all
adorable
picky, I
creepy
tell
thing
you.
that walks around.
What did you say?
She's the most adorable, creepy thing that walks around.
Nope, adorable, creepy. No. I already have, sir, I have 3 daughters, and all of them are into creepy stuff. So I already have adorable, creepy things walking around. Nope, don't do. Tim Allen says, Royce fears Chucky. When I was a kid, I didn't sleep for 3 months after the first time I saw that movie. I was 7 years old the first time I saw Child's Play. I thought Chucky was going to pop out from under my bed and stab me. I literally waited on my bed with a stick many, many nights in a row until I couldn't stay awake anymore. I was...
No, come
nope,
on.
I don't.
Edwin only has a taser. There's nothing creepy about that.
The taser! Oh, good. Oh, good. So now I... You know what? At least I'm adult. I can sleep with my AR now, so I'll just be waiting for your creepy dolls to show up and... Nope.
Taser you.
Nope. They ain't gonna taser me. I'm gonna shoot the hell out of them creepy dolls. I don't do creepy dolls. I just. Why would you do that to me, Bonsart? Why?
Because he's adorable. But no, that became because Enwin also appears in both novels as well, and people really enjoy the relationship that the character Igraine has with that doll. But Igraine grows up during the books, so I could not have her walking around with a toy. So then I made a story about her having to take care of this doll that has come to life and has to learn everything. So it's also kind of like coming of age story, or becoming an adult story in some ways. And yeah, people
cool.
really enjoyed it. Even people who are completely new to the series. So
True.
That's awesome, man. So it seems like you guys have quite a bit that you're working on.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So so first of all, you're doing the comic, right? You decide you want to do the comic. You look for an artist. How is it that you and Johan decide to connect? Because I'm going to be honest, that artwork looks really good. How do you guys connect? What does this project mean for the both of you guys working together?
Maybe it's fun for Johan to tell that part.
Yeah, at that time, Bonsart, I'm posting my art form in Defiant Arts, in the Defiant Art Forum, and at that time, Bonsart was searching for an illustrator to do steampunk, and at the same time, I was actually exploring the steampunk art too. Yeah, so like that. So we connected just like that, because I was
Kismet.
yeah.
Yeah, on DeviantArt, I posted an article like, "Oh, I want to do this coloring book project. I want to connect with various artists. I want to have various
It's
artists
coloring book.
represented in that work." And then I came across Johan responded, and he was already working on his own steampunk thing, which is set in the Dutch Indies. And to me, it
Yeah,
was kind of like, "Oh wow, that sounds a little bit too good to be true." Because my family's also from the Dutch Indies. So yeah, so we
That's
often
cool.
talk about that history as well. And yeah, and then there were also things that I really wanted to do. Let me see if I can find it in this version real quick. I don't know. Is it here? Is it not here? No, apparently it's missing from this. This is an early print. But yeah, there is one illustration is that of a Garuda, which is kind of like a creature from, well, mostly East Asian mythology. Um, but yeah, so it was kind of like too good to be true. And Johan is also very productive. Like, he's a beast when it comes to the amount of art that he makes as well. So it's someone I can keep commissioning from, because so many illustrators ghost you after one commission. It's yeah, a shame,
That's-
but
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. Just the way that you said that. Just he's like, no. The guy actually performs, so I can keep paying him to perform.
Imagine that.
Imagine
that. Yeah.
what a
Come on,
what a
I-
concept! A guy who actually does the thing that makes you want to keep paying him.
Oh yeah, it's incredibly
That's
hard to
normal.
find artists like that. It really is. I mean, it sounds logical, that if somebody wants to pay for your services, that you keep working for the guy, but that's unfortunately not how it works.
No,
Unfortunately,
it's not, and it.
I've been really lucky then.
Oh, dude, the horror stories I've heard horror stories behind the scenes of people trying to work with artists, and like artists wanting money up front and people paying for it and people getting things back that were not good. I've seen a few of them, and I'm like, they charged you how, and it sets creators back with the story that they want to tell.
I might anger like an entire community of artists, but seriously, if you've never worked with a person before, you do not pay people up front.
No, you shouldn't. Really shouldn't.
No, that, and I would say the absolute most is half up front.
If you have that good instinct about them, sure, you can compromise with that.
Nope, it is, but yeah, the artist community is flaky, to say the least. And what's so cool about guys like yourselves coming on the show is we get to show off to the rest of the community, making their own books, making their own comics. Hey guys, these are people who actually do the work. They put the time in. They're reliable. Oh, and by the way, go talk to them if you need something done. That's what's so cool about this, is because Bonsart, Johan, I love that you guys are on the show, but here's the cool part. You guys did all the work. You guys already did all the work to find each other, to prove that you guys are doing the work, and now all I have to do is just tell people to look at what you're doing. It's amazing. I love my format that I have here, but in a way, it's rare. It's so rare.
Oh,
Out of the hundreds and thousands of people who are trying to find people to work with, getting somebody who actually produces is a rare commodity. And we here on this show have been really, really lucky to meet the people who are producing. Like, I think that that's one thing that I don't know how we've been that lucky. I don't know if we just vet people well enough or what, but out of all of the people that we've had on this show, everyone's producing. Everyone is pushing. Everyone is creating and really building that infrastructure for themselves. So for the both of you, because Johan building that backlog, that catalog for his artwork, and Bonsart, you building that world that you're working on, and your books and the miniatures and all of that. How do I want to ask this? Do you guys see that level of commitment in other places that you're putting in? Do you guys see that level of drive and hard work that you're putting in? Or do you guys see just kind of the lazy people out there? What are you seeing more of? Are you seeing more drive and commitment, or are you seeing more laziness and people who just want a quick payday? What are you guys seeing?
Well, what I see is there are a lot of people, and I think that places like BookTube kind of leech off of that. Is that there's a lot of people they have a dream, you know. They want to write, like, they want to be the next J.J.R. Martin, and then they like pen up all these papers and they write their outlines, but nothing really comes to it, because when it comes to writing, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to craft a sentence. It's a lot of work to actually sit down, take the time, go over, like, is this a sentence that my readers can imagine in their heads as they read it? And then that's a thing. And like places like BookTube, like, they love talking about things like the hero's journey, because, you know, that's easy, and it gives I guess people kind of like this fantasy that they can work toward. Like, if they understand the theory, they can write the best work ever possible. I don't agree. A matter of fact, right now, people who back my project, they get access to now they're actually more like PowerPoint presentations, but they're about how to write a sentence. That's not very sexy YouTube content. That is not the thing that people want to talk about when they're talking about writing. They want to talk about writing the next Game of Thrones, but no, your world building. And I will be on Frequency Studios next week, I think, if I recall correctly, with Lord Otter. So we'll probably talk about that again. But, you know, it's about, like, writing sentences. That's where my world building comes from, is from crafting the sentences, and okay, what are my characters interacting with now? So that's so I think that places like BookTube, they sell people fantasies about, you know, oh, if you understand this theory and if you read J.J.R. Martin enough, you too can become this level of writer. But writing the book is step one. You know, it's the next step is promotion, and that's something that I am not very good at. That's something I really need to work on. You know, that's why I'm here. And yeah.
And you touched on something there that I hope I remember in a minute. But Johan, the same question to you. In the community that you're in, which is illustrating, are you seeing drive and are you seeing people who have passion and drive more, or are you seeing
Yeah.
people who are just kind of lazy and they want a quick payday? Like, what are you seeing in that world?
In my community, the art community in in my environment, at least, because it's mostly passionate, I think. Yeah, because especially in comic artist community, because in Indonesia, the comic industry is practically none.
Wow.
It's almost zero, and we are the comic artists living in Indonesia are trying to build. So we are maybe basically fighters. Maybe.
So you're laying
Iron
laying the
Age
groundwork.
Indonesia.
So you guys are
Yeah.
laying the groundwork. You are literally building the foundation of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
comic community in
yeah,
Indonesia. That's
yes,
awesome.
yeah, the indie comic.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Because in Indonesia there was a comic industry until 80s and 90s when the mangas come in. So we are practically the Indonesian comic industry was practically dead. So now when technology and printing technology has evolved, so we are there is some sparks, maybe there is some movement that the indie comics are trying to create, as you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, to
No,
create
that's
more.
so that's and what's so interesting, again, we talked about having we have people from, several corners of the globe on today. And it's really cool to hear that in Indonesia, the comic creator community is putting in a lot of hard work and is trying to build that foundation over there. Because at least I don't know if you know this, but America is full of bratty snobs who've never had to work for any. I don't know if you've heard that before, but Americans are kind of lazy. And they kind of think that things should just be given to them. I'm not sure if you've heard that before, but yeah, Americans. All right, I'm just gonna say it. Most Americans don't deserve what they have, and they deserve
Really?
even less than what they do have. Shut up, Richard. I'm talking about you. Anyway. No, I'm not talking about Richard. Actually, Richard and Daniel. The reason that I have these guys on the show, and why I want to work with them, is because Richard and Daniel are two people who are constantly pushing themselves above and beyond, and constantly pushing themselves to reach new heights. And I do my best to try to surround myself with people who make me feel like I'm the lazy guy, right? I see what Richard and Daniel are doing. I see what Bonsart's doing. Johan, first time that I've met you, but I feel like you fall in this category as well, is that I do my best to surround myself with people who make me feel like I'm falling behind. Like, as hard as I work and do what I do with my day job and being a dad and a husband, and then running the YouTube channel and trying to do YouTube videos and trying to read new books and all the comic stuff, I see Bonsart coming up with a multimedia franchise that he's doing. I see Daniel working with 5 or 6 or 7 different people every month to help write and create new stories, as well as write his own. I see Richard doing gathering people over to his website and putting out prompts to test writers, and then on top of that, also bringing various different creators together in one in one book, and now in one EP for music. And I see these guys pushing the envelope, and I see them connecting and really reaching for that next step, for that next thing that is going to propel what they're doing above and beyond. And when I see all of that, the one question that I come back to is, where does that all start? Where does that begin? Where is that thing inside of you that pushes you to want to lay that foundation? And so, Johan, I will ask you this because I think I've asked Bonsart this before on the show, but Johan, you are new. So I want to
Yeah.
ask you, your journey in Indonesia, making comics and trying to lay that foundation, where does that begin with you? Are you a little boy? Are you a teenager? Are you a young man? Where does your journey in illustration begin?
Maybe it's from, of course, everybody, every artist will have an experience when they were a kid, they were children. So
Mm-hmm.
it's the time when they they has a they had a passion to explore the arts, you know. So same with me. I draw from little kid, and I also, but yeah, I grew up in the when the comic industry is not so well. So I I I went to the other field. You know, I trained in architecture actually. So it's not graphic design or illustration. So I trained in architecture.
Oh,
But
wow.
while I was there, the funny thing is I met uh, people who had passions in comic as well. You know,
That's
so
interesting.
yeah. So my friend who was with me in my college in my academy, so he is now taking a doctorate study in Australia about comics. So yeah,
What?
yeah, my friend.
That's that's great. I've never even heard of that. That's crazy.
Yeah. So the passion is always here. So yeah, whatever condition you are in, but the passion is always there in you. So especially when the COVID came, uh, before the COVID, actually, I didn't work in comics anymore. I tried to help my family business in furniture making and interior design. So when the COVID attacked, so when everything goes went silent, so I started I started going to comics again. So what I maybe it's a long road for me, but I think when I feel like I can myself say that I am a comic creator maybe from yeah it's been 3 years I think. Yeah, it's been three
Yeah, I
years
think
when
you were
I
working on Jacka Mechanic. I think you were
yeah
just starting working on it when we met for the first
yeah
time. Yeah,
it's my comic
yeah.
yeah.
So
It's my steampunk project set in Indonesia. Then it was not Indonesia, but it was Dutch Indies. So I actually
That's
very
really good.
I feel very lucky to meet with Bonsart because I can ask him about the Dutch culture, about the especially the Dutch the Netherlands, the Dutch language.
yeah,
So I
Radio
asked him,
Kootwijk. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Well,
So
one of the
that's
things. Oh, go ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead,
yeah.
Mark.
So Radio Kootwijk is something that we want to reference in the future. In the next, I think for issue 3 or 4, turns out that the main character of the comic, actually, whose uncle was active in building Radio Kootwijk, which was one of the longest distance radio stations in the world that connected the Netherlands with the Dutch Indies wirelessly. And that
Nice.
building still exists.
yeah. Actually, I actually live in a city near the 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 radio station that connected the Dutch Indies with the Netherlands. Unfortunately, the radio is now destroyed. But yeah, I feel like it feels
But the building
very.
still exists, right?
It's only in ruins, ruins only. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's a shame.
yeah,
That's a shame.
it's
Yeah.
a shame. Yeah, but it's kind of funny because Bonsart lived near the radio Courtwide, and I live near the Malabar station. Yeah.
Very cool. Richard, you had a question?
Yeah, I was going to ask. So, Bonsart, one of the things I remember from last time is that you have a multiverse that's open to a certain degree for other writers to participate in.
Yeah.
Is that um, something that you guys think that you might collaborate on in terms of a story of Johann's, or is that probably a different enough that might not be the case?
Well, we have not really talked about. We have talked about doing something set in Indonesia, for
Mhm.
sure. That's something that we definitely want to explore. But I mean, um, I
Uh,
mean, it's a multiverse, so who knows?
yeah.
But my multiverse does not have magic, and his world
Hmm.
does. So, but I mean, maybe who knows? But Johan actually did make a crossover
Oh, really?
for
It's
Halloween.
more like a reference.
Yeah, like yeah, it was more of a
Yeah,
reference, but yeah,
like a homage to you, sir.
yeah. So it's a creature that appears in the first book in the series that attacks one of his characters.
I
So
see.
In
That's
a
pretty
dream
cool.
sequence too. So yeah,
yeah,
you can
yeah,
do anything with it. Yeah.
Very cool.
really. But yeah, well, who knows? I mean, I'm open to suggestions.
Yeah.
We have not really talked about it. Like, I definitely want to do something to expand upon the history of Indonesia in our world. Currently, I'm starting work on a series that explores the alternative history of the world itself. Recently, as a kind of like prequel to the current Kickstarter story, I
Hmm.
explored the history of India in my world because it's heavily related to space travel. In
Hmm.
this setting, it's the character from this is, by the way, one of the special editions that we offer. We have 4 variant covers, so go check those out. Yeah, the main character, the guy who invented the first space rocket, is from Indian descent, from Mysore to be exact. And we have him here on the C variant cover, which is inspired by the Victorian penny dreadfuls. I love this one. Yeah, so there's actually the whole history behind how that came to be, and I want to explore in various videos how how various aspects of the world work, how particular factions came into existence, and yeah, I take my inspiration from various other creators. This is based on the cover from Storm, for those who are familiar with bande dessinée comics. So yeah, there's a lot of references to bande dessinée in this series.
Beautiful work. Beautiful work.
Oh yes, yes,
Storm
Yeah.
by
I'm very proud
don't
on how
by
the special editions turned out. The
Oh
special
man.
editions are also bigger than the standard version. Just a moment, everything is collapsing. So this is the basic version. I think it's $15 on the Kickstarter. There's also a €5 digital version, and yeah, this one also, the special edition is bigger. It also has more content, like this amazing drawing of a bande dessinée. Basically means French comics. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
what it
Yep.
means. But yeah, it also contains a lot of the lore. It has more art in there of the airborne dragoons and how they operate. Yeah, and also some of the sketch works, which I just adore. It turned out way better than I expected it would.
Yeah, those are
So, yeah.
fantastic.
Looks
Yeah.
sharp.
Did you have you gotten any more collaborators, like people that have been looking to write in your multiverse since last time we talked about it?
A lot of people talked about it. I know some people have started working on stuff, but so far I only have one submission by Mark Brandon, a very good steampunk author, and I actually included his story in last week's freebies every weekend. So tomorrow I'm gonna be posting free content for the people who already back it. So the sooner you back this Kickstarter, the more content you'll get out of it.
Yeah.
Right on. That's good though. As long as you got people coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I don't think this is your first Kickstarter campaign.
No, this is our third one. Yeah,
This is your first one.
third.
Third. So, being that it's your third, what is it like to? Because Kickstarter is still something to me that I look at, and I respect everybody who's doing their own Kickstarters because I see people doing their Kickstarters or Fund My Comic or Indiegogo, and and talking with people who do it kind of behind the scenes. What kind of chaos is that? It just seems like so much that it's because everybody's like, oh, like on my end, it's like, oh, I'm just gonna give here's the money and then I'll get the thing. But I talk with, there are so many people out there that I'm like, man, if I back this, that person is literally gonna go through hell just to get me the thing that I backed. On my side. So what all goes into the Kickstarter, not just the promotion side of it, which seems to be, from what I've seen, the second hardest part, but the fulfillment side of it. How crazy has that been for you?
Well, I know that Richard and I both use Critical Blast. So that's
Those are great
service.
folks. Yeah.
Yeah. So that he has helped me a lot with all kinds of things. So having a distributor, which is also very important because if you are an American and you have to fulfill pledges in Europe, all your pledges will have to pay extra because of our wonderful European Union.
Mhm.
So that's why I also stated in the trailer that I ship for Europe, I ship myself, so you don't have that problem. And within US, it's also shipped separately. What I basically now just have to do is the stuff that I cannot have printed in the United States, I send from here in one go, and then I hope it arrives in an okay situation. The first time that did not happen, all the coloring book got damaged, so I had to get them reprinted. Fortunately, I have somebody who was selling books for me, physical copies as well, so he's offering them at a high discount, so the money isn't entirely wasted for the time being. But still, yeah. I mean, connections, man, and networking is so important. People to ask questions to about the mundane stuff, like from what software do you use to, hey, do you know an address where I can get this particular service?
Mm-hmm.
Where can I get patches made? It was another creator who helped me with Critical Blast. So it's very important to have any form of network. One thing that I learned is that writing is something you don't do alone. And I have I'm very fortunate that I have a community that's doing a lot of proofreading for me and giving a lot of feedback, and helping me with spelling correcting and that kind of stuff. but it's that's saving me thousands of dollars. It really is. And I'm now learning how to use AI for spelling correction to speed up my workflow. So in that case, we're also very lucky that we now have all these new tools to our disposal to get all the menial stuff out. That's where it was with Kickstarter. The more you do it, the faster things go. And really, it's no different from a normal book launch when you think about it. Because when if you want to become a bestseller, you need to learn how to master the Facebook ads and the Amazon ads and all that stuff. And it's basically the same sales pitch. So you can, and also for my previous, I copy pasted a lot for my previous campaign, and refined that, and you just become like, how do the algorithms work? What are the search terms that my book can be found upon? What are parties that I can work with? I'm now using a new service called Infobacker. If it's going to pay off, I mean, yeah, you're always throwing the dice. It's unfortunate that you need money to make money.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I started looking for steampunk Kickstarters, see what search terms do they use. And I got a lot of ideas for that, but I also saw like some terrible Kickstarter pages where people like literally put AI art on their banner and call it concept art. Like, of course they got zero pledges, and for good reason. But I mean, yeah, knowledge is power. It really is. Networking is power. So yeah, I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. They think that I write a book and that's it, and everyone is waiting for my book, and then I put my first book on Amazon, and it's the first JJ, and everyone thinks I'm JJ Martin. That's not how it works.
Yeah, and oh man, I can't even.
Yeah.
I understand that to the degree of a musician, but not as an author. Which is the same. It's the same thing. You write something. I wrote a bunch of songs, put them out there. You ask people to buy them, and then networking. Admittedly, I'm better at networking today than I was many years ago as a musician. But I think had I, again, very, very different thing. But yeah, like you say, networking is massive. Networking is huge.
Yeah, well, I mean, I recently watched the latest episode of Razor Fist's Metal Mythos. And one,
yeah, with Alice
yeah,
Cooper,
and all these guys know each other. All these musicians know each other. They all influence each other. They all made suggestions to each other. That's because they networked, and it's so important. And I just touched upon, and this is for the future. This is my prediction about how people are going, because we now have to compete with AI as well. I mean, Richard, is it true that a lot of submissions that you get are AI generated stories? Because that's what I've heard down the grapevine, that a lot of what magazines now receive are all AI generated tales.
Well, I think there's a couple things, right? I personally, there is maybe one in the last batch that I read, and I kind of had a inkling that maybe this was AI generated, or maybe it was just poorly done. You know what I mean? It's kind of, yeah. And that's not to say, frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some people who are using AI to kind of get ideas, and then they turn those ideas into short stories, which
I can see that.
I don't know. I'm not going to comment much on that, but I think the places that have complained about this are doing so for probably two reasons. One is that they wanted to try to get some attention, You know what I mean? And mind you, they're paying more money. So if they're going to try and get hit by scammers, it's not going to be me. You know what I mean? You're going to go for the people who are actually paying, 8 cents a word. And, it's...
You heard it here, folks. Richard, don't pay.
I'm sorry, I don't. I pay like a quarter of that, but compared to a lot of people, I still I'll stand by saying that 2 cents a word is pretty good for indie. Thank you. Anyway, but the other factor that I would say is that I think that they are out to get free publicity because AI bad was a big narrative. You saw everybody come out and say this whenever AI was already trending. You know what I mean? Maybe they suddenly woke up and were like, oh, wow, that's what's wrong with these. Or maybe they went to another website, used one AI to detect another AI, which just gave them, a false positive rate of like 80%, which is what happens, it seems. And they went, oh, my God. Or lastly, they don't want to have to worry about that fig leaf for not accepting people based on talent and instead just want to accept people that they know and they're already chummy with. You know what I mean? It's probably a little bit of everything. It's like a lot of these big magazines have not focused on quality. You go and you look and what's the first concern? Your skin color, your your gender, your sexuality. It's like by the time you get down to the third thing, it's like what do we actually want and what do we care about? I guess good fiction, maybe that's kind of somewhere on there, I think.
Yeah. Well, what I suspect is that first of all, what writers in the future need to think about. It's becoming harder to be a successful writer, I think. And one thing is that we need to focus more on community. Really put ourselves out there as this is me. I'm a real person. You can ask me anything, and build up that relationship, especially in the age of social media.
Well, yeah,
but another
I agree
thing
with you for sure, and I think also part of that is not just the hey, I'm not AI factor, but I think also some of it is that in this age of everything electronic, that people are always searching for connections, a little bit of humanity on the other side of the screen. And if it's in your wheelhouse to provide that, I think that's a good thing. It can be hard though for people to put themselves out there, and I think I don't know. It's a rough time. It's a rough time.
And that is
no. I mean, it's easier. It's easier to compete. It's harder than ever to compete at the same time.
Yeah. It's easier to start the game. It's easier to play the game. It's harder to win, I would say.
Yeah. No, and that's 100% true. It's, I mean, everybody can have a YouTube channel now, right? Everybody can have their own website now. Everybody can have their own Twitter. Which is good, which is good. But the age-old adage that the cream will rise to the top, right? And that is one of
I don't know how age-old that adage is, but
it was the best of times. It was the darkest of times.
When was the last time anyone actually churned butter or made cream?
Yeah.
We do it in my house multiple times a year. What are you people? Anyway, it's not that hard. Anyway, a little bit of salt, some heavy cream. Never mind.
And a whole lot of this motion.
No, actually.
Just fucking around.
God,
he's at 2 3/4 drinks at the moment, so be careful.
Yeah, what I suspect with the AI thing and where writers should focus more on, because and this is an overall problem with Hollywood, and I've got a lot from people who work in Hollywood who agree with me on this, is that Hollywood does not know how to write high concept anymore. That's why they fucked up Star Trek. That's why they fucked up a lot of things.
And
And I think that's also something that AI cannot do. So I think that's something that writers should be looking into more.
And
Is high concept, and that's something that's well, it's poorly explained. I mean, there are very few booktubers who talk about high concept, because everyone's all about the hero's journey because it's simple, it's easily explained, and and high concept is often talked about. Well, it's simply a story with a what if premise,
well,
right?
Part of my issue with leaning on high concept is that it's misaligned with current culture, and you
Yes.
have to decide what your goal is. Is your goal to sell books, or is your goal to create a classic? If your goal is to create a classic, high concept is a great way to do that. It's fantastic in its design. But if your goal is to sell, people have short attention spans now. That's why the hero's journey is so effective. It's a simple format that everyone can follow. So if your goal is mass sales and become, like try to reach, Sanderson level money, then you want to play to the audience, which is keep it simple and make it interesting. High concept can be interesting, but it's never simple. It's often more complex.
But the
It
idea
depends on execution, I
can
think.
again execution, but can high concept be told in a simple way that the masses can gravitate
I'm
to?
not
And that
maybe, but I haven't seen it yet.
but
Well, I mean, I think I recently watched what's it called again? For All Mankind, and that's not that hard to grasp. And that's a great example of a very simple premise, a very simple high concept premise. And I think the problem with a lot of high concept writers is they like, again, they're too focused on the big questions, so to speak, instead of starting with, and that's how I did my series, is just take a very small problem, and as you write the story, that small problem becomes this huge thing with all these various explorations. And I what I see is with a lot of writers, they want to, they're immediately thinking about like creating this bloody epic, and I think that's the problem. I think you should the best way to start with high content is start small. And if you and like, well, my first book, The Wrench in the Machine, is a great example of this, where I basically combined a number of those small problems into, well, this beast of a book.
jeez.
Um, and that's the thing, because I then started combining all these simple ideas, but it became like, well, complex. And I think a lot of people, they want to start with something extremely complex with like magic systems, and I'm like, no, start with like a simple premise. Like, oh, what if the Russians were first on the moon? There you go.
Within the
we would
creator's
just
niche,
nuke
that
the
makes
moon.
sense.
That's the
Yeah.
answer.
But
What if
we're
the
also
Russians-
missing the point, by the way, because my point was
No.
not this. My point was, this is something that AI cannot do. That
I agree.
Well,
yeah.
AI and here's AI cannot do the exact same things that its creators cannot do. And as AI develops and it turns over into the hands of independent creators, and people are able to teach AI what they want it to do, eventually, the program will be able to do high concept, because someone out there, someone will figure out how to get AI to create that thing that they want it to do. It's going to take time, but eventually AI will be able to do that thing. But before we go down that rabbit hole, because the AI rabbit hole Oh my God, we went on an AI rabbit hole last year, and that was nuts. Before we go on, that, Richard, good sir.
Time to go, huh?
Yeah, I've got to
Oh.
bail. I have a meeting after this that I'm going to briefly. So
What the fuck?
yeah, it's another little thing.
Busy Friday.
Hopefully next Friday you guys will know about it, and if not, then whoops. But anyway, until
Andrew,
then,
are you still here? We need the NDA.
right. The main things that before I go, I just want to shout out again Tuesday, amplemagazine.com. You can find, if you don't want to go through amplemagazine.com, there will also be on Indiegogo, and shortly after, if not that same day, Fund My Comic.
Will you be
for
able to
issue
find
number
it
3.
on ironage.media? Will you
Yes,
be able
and
to find this information?
ironage.media will have an article up about it. You can check it out there and whatnot. At the same time, we're also going to be launching the full lineup and full information for First Strike, a tempered record, the inaugural EP for this new series that we're wanting to do. I promise you guys are going to get a kick out of it. There's tons of talent there, and there's tons of talent in issue number 3 of Anvil. It just so much exciting stuff, including the lovely Johan down there. So you guys will have plenty to enjoy. So with that, I bid you all adieu and have a good
All right.
good rest of your weekend. Adios.
Have a good
Thank
night,
you.
man.
Adios.
Good night, Richard.
Yeah. Bye.
All right, and then there were 4, and then there were the 4 of us. So
3.5 because I'm lit.
all right, so now that we've had plenty of the conversations this evening, let's get into the Kickstarter, guys. Let's go over to the Kickstarter. Tell us what's going on with that. What are you guys doing? Walk us through this Kickstarter campaign, and just tell the audience what you guys got going on over here.
Oh, awesome. I see we just got a new backer. Thank you, new
Yeah.
backer. That's great. We had a bit of a setback this week because we had reached the first stretch goal. Unfortunately, somebody retracted our $100 pledge. I'm sure that person had good reason. That's quite a commitment.
Yes. It is.
So yeah, we're still at this point 21 euro short of the first stretch goal. But I'm sure we're gonna make that. What we have? Well, it is for the first issue in the Journey to Elysium series. It's kind of like a prequel series to the Association of Ishtar overall. As you have seen in the trailer, it's about basically these astronauts going to this mysterious object that appeared in the sky, and hilarity ensues, shall we say. Now, the first issue is already done, so the moment that the Kickstarter closes, we can start shipping out. So,
I love that. I think that is the key to the future of crowdfunding, in that it's gonna become less of a crowdfund and more of a pre-order culture. And
That's what I'm doing.
I think you guys are on the front end of that. Like,
yeah, so
it's already done. So you guys aren't necessarily crowdfunding Bonsart and Johan. You guys are pre-ordering from them.
We're not allowed to call it that on Kickstarter.
No, and that's fine. I respect that.
It's basically a storefront. That's how you gotta look at it. And we have all these special covers are Kickstarter exclusive. I will not offer these covers outside of the Kickstarters, and the reason why we need is that we need funding for the next issue. I'm not making any money out of it. It's actually all the money goes straight to Johan. So
it's Johan who's winning.
yeah, it really is.
Boy, an
but he
artist
worked
getting
hard for
paid
it.
for what they did. What a concept.
Yeah, I had a conversation with a publisher about it. And so I don't forget to pay yourself. And it's like, I cannot pay myself. I'm not making enough money of my writing yet. Everything goes to my illustrators
But it's a
because
good
all my
portfolio
books are
for
illustrated.
Bonsart too.
What was that,
Yeah.
Johan?
I mean, in the long run, yeah, maybe. I get it. I get it. What Bonsart has done. In the long run, it will be beneficial for him. In the long run,
Mm-hmm.
I hope
I
so.
think. Yeah.
It would be great if I can make a living out of this, then or
Yeah.
something, or work less. Um, so I can focus more on writing. That would be great. But yeah, so we've got also all kinds of unique stuff for the backers. Like I said, I offer weekly freebies. Tomorrow is the next freebie coming up, which includes several short stories that explain some of the background stuff of characters. That was at request because Johan and I were on Drawn and Quartered last night. Johan is a
That's
regular there.
cool.
I introduced him to that stream. So he does some amazing stuff there. We've got some amazing fan art for the series. So it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's the weekly stuff, weekly free stories, and I try to change up the wallpapers. In the last week, we have a special launch for Anwen, which I'm sure people are going to love and might actually become the most popular book in the series, to be honest. Um, and yeah, we've got all the other books. We've got The Wrench in the Machine, which is the first book in the series. We've got Bound for the Sticks, which was, we talked about it in the previous show. Really proud on this one. We also have the anthologies. How I work is I first write everything down in short stories, and then based on those short stories, I write the bigger books. So that's how I work. We offer those as well. What else do we've got? We've got the coloring book. We've got the merch. If you want one of these, you can get them. We've got 2 pairs of them. This is the villain from the first book,
That was so
the
good.
Call Girl, and you can get the SCL file for €10 together with the hero of the book, and the same goes for the characters of the second book. Yeah, there's actually a special reward tier that you can get like the entire miniature and bookend collection in one go with a bit of a discount. We also have, if you're like, oh, I want to have like the first book with the anthology and the associated miniatures, we've got those tiers as well. Yes, and Lord Otter excited to write up my review for Anwen. Yes, I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, what
Right.
else do we've got? We've got also the complete collection. You'll get all the books and comics. Yeah, we've got one more mystery cover that Johan is working on. And I
Yeah, I'm
see
working on it.
it already looks amazing. And we reached our first stretch goal. Thank you very much.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes.
No
so
kidding?
we're
Here on the
finally back
stream?
on track. Yes.
We did it. Yeah.
I also said that if we reach 60
Yeah.
backers, I will look into doing a small art contest, but only if we make those 60 backers before next Wednesday. So then I can
That's
have
awesome.
announced the winner at the end of the Kickstarter.
Right. We don't get many stretch goals that are reached on the show. We're still it's still a very small show, but damn it, dude, I love hearing that. That's so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
One of these
So
days,
we reached the stretch goal for the second time. But yeah, the next stretch goal will be trading cards. I'm really looking forward to experimenting with those. I already got a company where I can get them made. So
awesome.
it would be nice to see to get some trading cards out of there. I mean, we focus on the comic, but it's for the entire series. I also want to include more original art in our videos. Right now I'm working on a video on steampunk warfare. So I made some sketches for that myself about some vehicles, but on the show last night. But Oh man, I can only do so many things. So yeah,
understand that.
that's the goal, to just keep on paying artists. That's um, and yeah, we also have like a video coming up that will be a continuation of the last video we have on our channel, which is about the history of India and how that led to the creation of the space program. So, and we've got original art for that, and that's why I have not published it, because Alex Castro, he's a Brazilian artist. He's right now drawing his heart out to get those pages as he wants them to. And we might actually offer those physical pages as a reward for the collectors among you. Or maybe as a prize. Could also be a prize for the art contest. So I still need to think about what I'm gonna do there. Open to suggestions. And what else? Yeah, we also have our most expensive stretch goals. One of them is get your character included in the series. You'll get a digital portrait, and that character will be included in the series somewhere. If you're one of those people who want to have their character killed, we can also talk about that. There is another one that you can actually, if you have a story concept but you don't know how to write it, yes, there is one of those tiers as well. And wait, did we just get a new backer? What happened there?
I think if I were to do anything,
I think somebody upped their pledge.
Oh,
I think that's what happened, because we're still at 45. We're now near almost at 1,800 euros. Awesome.
You're at 1910 American, where I sit.
Yeah.
You're at 1910 American.
Yeah. What else? Yes, and finally, I've got a friend who's an artist. I mean, her art is for the connoisseurs, but she made actually an artwork, actual canvas based on this character. On this painting. I think it should be going up tomorrow. She has her own very own unique take on that. And that is up for, it's an expensive one. It's including shipping, somewhere around 600 euros. But then you'll actually have an art piece from a Dutch artist. And most of the money will go to the artist in question. So that's gonna come up, and it's also inspired by something that Neutron Board drew. So, hey, what else do you want?
Dude,
And
Neutron Board, that guy works for everyone. Everybody knows that guy, and I'm like, holy crap! How many people does he? So, just for those who know, that image there, that's a Neutron Board image. That was a commission from a backer. That's insane.
Yeah, he made another one. That was quite a learning experience. Like, here's the coloring page version. But he also made a drawing of an associate. And that was quite an interesting learning experience, because I put all of my references like a schoolboy into a Word document. But he forgot to scroll down, so he saw this one image. He assumed that's all the references that I included. So he made like this World of Warcraft character-esque thing, and I didn't want to insult his intelligence, so I was like, well, this was not at all what I had in mind. So we drew another one. It was still kind of something like that. It's like. And then I sent him one of the images that I included in the file, and he got confused, and then he realized that he forgot to scroll down.
Oh no!
So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I now put all my references in an Excel sheet. Like, yes, everything you need is on this one sheet.
I would
no
do that,
scroll required.
I would absolutely.
Yeah, no scrolling required. Exactly. So that was. So that was kind of an interesting experience, but but we worked out. He done some amazing work for the show, and I also just saw Mage Leader in the chat, and he might have really loved this one because this is my upcoming book. The manuscript is already done. It's now with my proofreaders, and this is a new spin-off series. Takes place in the same universe called the Casket Girls, and it's done by one of the original BattleTech artists,
That's
Eldon
cool.
Calgar. So I did not even realize at the time that he was one of the originals, but this became a gift because he himself was not happy with it. Yeah, I mean, it's probably one of the best works in
He's
the
like,
series.
here, this sucks. You can have it. What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it was more also because it happened that he had a commission after this, and he really used it as practice because that was also black and white. It was something he hadn't done for a very long time. So yeah. And I'm talking to another artist for the Cosmic Girls, but she's now suffering from a burnout. So I hope she'll do it, but we'll see what happens. But yeah. Is there anything else I wanted to tell about the? Does anyone have questions about the Kickstarter?
That's a good thing. That's a good thing to segue into. Guys, if you guys have any questions that we would like to ask Bonsart or Johan, we'll go into your questions now, or we'll answer your super chats if you guys want to send those in as well.
They've been talking about gas station convenience stores for the last 15 minutes.
That and binary code. I don't know what's wrong with the chat tonight. I think they're short-circuiting.
Nah, they're just having a good time.
The chat's weird tonight. No, there's no sex scenes in the book, MSK.
Bro.
Jeez.
I'm drunk and I wasn't even going to ask that.
Resident 1 says, enough point. If you guys know that, that's a Pinky in the Brain reference. Yep. In the Midwest, it's Quick Trip. It's a mini grocery.
Narf. Yeah.
Narf. Yeah. Oh God!
If I involved the Necronomicon, I've been really hanging off of the like outright Lovecraft references. But I don't know, maybe because people do look for that stuff. People do love their Lovecraft. But it's not where my mind is at right now. I really want to involve more Lovecraftian stuff. But I'm not
frozen
sure
elder gods floating around in space.
Include like Lovecraft gods and that type of stuff. I have not made my mind up at that. But people can submit their own concept ideas and have them included in the role-playing game. So we start with what we want to do is have a two-step submission process. First, you can submit your concept in 150 words in a narrative form. So people know what it would look like in a story format right away, and after that, you can either finish the full short story or have somebody else leave it to somebody else to finish.
Oh, Tim Allen is not talking about Lovecraft. The real Necronomicon, he said.
Yeah, Tim Allen says he was talking about the real Necronomicon, the Book of the Dead.
Oh, good Lord.
I mean, we could include an item that has that name. I mean, it's not that on Outlet.
There's got to be a Klaatu Barada Nikto reference at some point.
I think I'm more interested in, I forgot the name of those codexy, but those really weird medieval codexy with all those weird art and just strange. I forgot the names of them, but there are like several of them. They don't know if these things are forgeries or if magical books, because they're also written in a language that people do not understand. So we don't know if this is just a joke or if somebody was thinking about, or we don't know. I forgot the names of them, but they're real.
I always love stuff like that, real or fake. I absolutely love old writings like that can just lead people to like, is this thing? Because Or you read things, you're like, wait, were these the conspiracy theorists of their time? Because
Yeah,
Probably.
something like that.
you have to.
Well, it is fun because like what I want to do with my series is that I start like an actual history, and then like with my Mad Indian guy, that it starts like an actual history, and then it goes off into science fiction. And what I want to do with and I also want to have references to books like that. Yes, the Kogas Gigas. Well, that's not the one I was thinking about, but
Yeah,
that's
no.
a very similar manuscript. Yeah. Um, I forgot the name of it, but it's very similar to the Codex Gigas. I
Not the,
think
the
this
key
one is from
to,
Hungary
not
that I have in mind.
not the key,
Um,
the lesser key of Solomon, right?
Uh,
It's not that.
could you
The
repeat
less
that?
the lesser key of Solomon, the
A
Solomon.
Lesser Key of Solomon. That's also an interesting book, but no, that's not the one.
Yeah, but I think it's
Um,
too magical. It it leaning a bit to fantasy.
yeah, but it's all definitely also an interesting book. There's this
Yeah,
YouTube
but very
channel
interesting.
Esoterica that talks a lot about books like that, and I highly recommend it if you love the history of esotericism and early Christianity. Um, so yeah, it has interesting stuff in there. I mean, I love like old references to magic and stuff. Definitely
I
want
have
to.
2 questions for you guys. Actually,
Okay.
one for each of you. From Maji Chan. She says, "Do you sometimes write stories not related to your world?"
Not often. I recently started like experimenting with some high fantasy because I have very little connection to fantasy, so I'm trying to figure out if I can write fantasy that I do actually enjoy.
See, I find that fantasy is one of my favorite genres to read because the one thing about fantasy when it comes to magic is I don't care how magic works. I love that. When it comes to like science fiction, like everybody wants to explain, you know, a lot of people want to explain exactly how it works and the math behind it and this, that, and the other. And good science fiction can just say, hey, we developed this thing, you know, centuries ago and it just works now. Oh, and by the way, that thing is centuries ahead of where you are. And it works. And magic works in the same. I like magic when it works like, hey, this magic. The guy said, make fire from my hand. Fire appeared from his hand. Why? Doesn't matter. That's what I like about a lot of the fantasy setting is when somebody says the magic did a thing, I don't need to ask the question, well, how did the magic do that? I just know, oh yeah, it's magic. It did the thing. And I love that. And some people they want to know the equation behind it, the math behind the magic. I don't care about the math behind the magic. But Maji Chan says a little bit of a typo here, but she's Johan. Is there something you like to make or draw just for an escape?
What do you mean? But an escape?
So
Something I like.
just for fun.
yeah, so do you do something just for fun or just to kind of you get stressed out in the day and you create something just on a page just to kind of get away from a stressful day? Is there anything
Not
that
really.
you do like that?
I, when I am stressed in drawing, I just don't draw.
There you go.
But
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes, but sometimes there are. I like ideas actually. So I like stories too. So maybe I just draw something, a concept or anything like that. Maybe just that. Just just draw what is in my mind. I think like I once tried to. What if the what I try to visualize. I to draw a martial artist in space, just like that, just like that.
That sounds cool.
That would be interesting to say the least. That would be
Yeah.
very interesting.
Wait.
Uh-oh. He's drunk.
The Voynich Codex.
What?
That might be it. That might be it.
VOYNICKH or CH? I don't remember. But I think that's the one you were talking about.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's the Voynich, yeah.
Hmm.
Drunk brain just needed a little while.
Yeah, it's one of those words where you're like, but I think that's the one. Yeah, it's
So I am what you would call a redneck. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with American rednecks, but we're not the smartest of Americans. I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
The Codex of strange things he was talking about before. It was like, I guess, rolling around in my head for the last 15 minutes, and then it finally connected to a brain cell that still worked.
yeah.
Daniel, you're drunk.
I am.
And I know because you have at least 4 inches above your head.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll put in the name in the chat. Then you can Google it at your own leisure. But it's you've been warned. It's a weird book.
It is.
I'm scared.
AC
I
confirms.
just heard that.
Drunk
Oh.
brain for the win.
Oh no. Really quickly, Wrangler drops a super chat earlier for 420. Thank you so much. Shadow Man came in for a member chat. He's been a member for a month. Says nice artwork, and that was the artwork you guys were showing off earlier when I had to go check on my kids. That's why I was out for a little while. I was making sure the kids were okay. And he says nice artwork, and the artwork you guys have is just freaking brilliant.
Yeah.
Johan,
For
you
five
are
instead of
Yeah,
€5 super chat, you can give €5, and then you have like a digital version of the comic.
no see, and
Attaboy.
that's why I'm such a terrible YouTuber, is because usually it's like, every YouTuber is like, give me money, send in super chats. And me, I'm just like, hey guys, did you know instead of giving me money, you can click that link that I just dropped down in the chat and you can go give these people money who are actually creating something.
And you'll get something in return.
Yeah. Like you won't just give me a super chat and then get some stupid rant from me. You'll actually get something in return. So I don't know. I'm terrible.
Bryce gives out rants.
Oh wow, we got a new backer. That's and that was a generous one.
That's awesome. Well, that was a very generous backer. Holy
Lord.
Lord.
That was a very generous backer. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Wow.
That
is absolutely incredible. Well, gentlemen.
Wow. Yeah, he got a variant cover and like a whole bunch of ebooks and the full miniature collection.
Nice.
Good choice.
That's incredible.
Kahuna wanted to ask Johan what art inspired him to be an artist.
Oh, that's a good question.
There are many. I mean, recently I am inspired by the Monstrous comic by Sana Takeda, and I forgot. The writer is Marjorie Liu, I think. Yeah, the Monstrous comic, and I like Mobius too. So, and Berserk, I love Berserk and
Berserk, yeah.
Berserk,
and we wanted to take some inspiration for the comic from Blame.
Yeah, Blame. I like Blame because it reminds me of Mobius too.
Yeah,
but
that is
in
true.
Manga
Yeah,
form.
definitely.
I actually I am exposed to three comic book in big comic book industry. I think it's Europe, it's America, and Japan. So I like 3 of them. So I am inspired by those.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have any more questions. They're talking about dark lore books now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's some very interesting esoteric literature out there. What can we say? Definitely, like again, I'm very much inspired by history. And it's well also the reason why I call the Association of Ishtar, because they believe to have this connection to like the ancient civilization somewhere, rather than actually true or not will show during the development of the series. Um, right now, I'm working on 2 more books. The Casket Girls, the manuscript of that is already done. That's now going through the feedback loop, so to speak. Then we're gonna look into who's doing the art for that. I already completed about half of the draft for the comic book series. I hope that will be like 10 issues at the end. So it will not go into infinitum. So people will have like eventually will have a story for an affordable price. And yeah, of course, the story gets continued in the various books. Right now, I'm working on the Knights of Avalon, which is also a military steampunk set in the same setting, about guys who want to be knights in this weird situation. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of references to the Arthur legend and that type of stuff, and chivalry, and how that can be combined in a ever technologically advanced world with corporate interests. Because in order to have their suits to function, they need to collaborate with a company called Ultra Krab. So we also get to explore that company for once. They play already a significant role in the world, but I've not had an opportunity to write that much about them. Yeah, and after that, I might start like what I call the second phase, which I call the wireless age, which will be about this world advancing into like more of a steampunk, more steampunk sci-fi world. As right now, it's really developing like all the futuristic technologies, and in the wireless age, this kind of reaches a climax. That's the idea,
Very
and then
cool.
it kind of collapses. I actually wrote a story about the collapsed world that's now being published by Silence and Star Song. So if you want to have a gander at the future of the world, go check them out. And yeah, I hope that the next story gets accepted by Iron Age magazine, that I already submitted. Which
Cool.
That'd be cool.
Maji Chan had the simplest question that I don't think we actually ever asked directly, which is why steampunk, Bonsart?
well, because I'm a big fan of both history and science fiction. And that's pretty much all there is to it, really.
Yeah, that's what steampunk create. That's what
That's what it
steampunk
is.
encompasses. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not wrong there. So sorry about disappearing, guys. The
You're
wife
good.
is out. I have to go and check on the children and make sure that they are not murdering each other. Because, as we all know, siblings close in age, they like to fight.
Mm-hmm.
They're not,
To real quick answer Kahuna Man's question, because it scrolled by in all the conversation. He asked, "What classic literature do you guys like?" He said he was reading Dumas right now. I'm currently rereading for the umpteenth billion time the full gamut of Sherlock Holmes stories, because I absolutely adore them. They never get old. And even though I know the plot, it's just so enjoyable to keep reading them consistently every couple of months. Yes, we know Dante's Inferno for Royce.
Well,
you asked my classic literature.
Mm-hmm. Bonsart, what about you?
Well, I'm dyslexic, so I don't read for fun.
Okay.
So I really depend on. Yeah, I'm really also for my videos. I'm really listening to a lot of nonfiction. So yeah, but don't Paradise Lost is definitely something that I really want to read at some point.
Paradise Lost. That's a good one.
Yeah.
And of course, got to go with some Jules Verne if you're steampunk and things.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I haven't really looked at them for a very long time. I do have some of the original prints on my shelf there. I inherit those from my parents. But I did grow up with Jules Verne. Yeah, I still need to finish listening to We. It's considered to be one of the first dystopian novels.
Hmm.
Uh, so yeah, I mean, and of course the Shadow stories. I still need to finish listening to the original audio dramas.
They are so good, aren't they?
Yeah, they're amazing.
Can I throw in a second classic? Well, I
Shoot.
consider him a classic. Edgar Allan Poe. I think
He was a
and
wild
a lot
man.
of
He was a wild man.
a lot of tragedy in his life, but I still think to this day that Edgar Allan Poe, as an American author, is one of the few authors who is actually able to. He's one of the few American authors who is actually able to convey tragedy through poetry in what he wrote. There's not a lot. There are not many authors who can pull that off in general. Edgar Allan Poe, I think, is one of the best. I think is one of the best American authors to have ever lived.
Be right back.
It is through it's through the tragedy of Edgar Allan Poe's life that we got the amazing works that we did from him. That's just where I'm at. I've got his entire works leather bound.
So do I.
I think he's one of the best out there. I really do. And I know a lot of people might disagree with me on that, but
Little bit. I was never a huge fan of The Raven. I much preferred Cask of Amontillado and The Telltale Heart.
Don't fucking say it. It's not Amontillado.
Amontillado, whatever.
It's Spanish. The double L is pronounced as a Y. Oh my god.
Leave me alone. I'm drunk.
Oh my god. And you're an author? I'm genuinely disappointed in you right now, Daniel. It's Cask of Amontillado.
I literally corrected myself as soon as you screeched like a girl. So, devour thine satchel of cocks, good sir.
My favorite Poe short story is A Telltale Heart. A Telltale Heart is, I mean, that
bar none. Telltale Heart's fantastic.
Oh, dude, it is. I think that most people don't understand The Raven in and of itself. The first time I read it wasn't in high school. I know a lot of people read it in high school. I didn't. I knew people. I read it actually of my own volition, and I was talking with people. They're like, yeah. They're like, I didn't get it. They're like, what was this bird talking about? And I'm like, wait, are you fucking kidding me? Like. Wait, are you serious? And I genuinely I will say this: high school aged Americans are
You're on stupid. Jersey. Sorry, Jersey said drink more. So
oh, there you go. High school aged Americans are too stupid to understand classic writing. They just are. And that was true when I was young as well. But yeah, I think Edgar Allan Poe. The other one that people don't really understand too, I mean, The Pit and the Pendulum. A lot of people don't talk about The Pit and the Pendulum. Used to be talked about quite a bit. A lot of people don't understand it, especially in its references to the Spanish Inquisition and things of that nature. But The Pit and the Pendulum, the way that it was written, was
too dry.
No.
Yeah.
No.
In comparison to the rest of his works, it was very dry.
Okay, yes, a man sitting there wondering when the actual blade was going to cut through his stomach and going and sweating through all of that. You think that was dry?
Yes.
Wow.
The writing of it was
No.
dry.
No, you're wrong. Just flat out, you're fucking wrong. No. Daniel, you and I are going to fight so much. If I ever write a book, I can't have Daniel edit it because he and I are just going to go blow for blow. It's just going to devolve. No, I will say this. A Telltale Heart, though. A Telltale Heart is up there for me. I will, but anyway, sorry.
Queenie says
also, RH Snow, thank you for your pledge.
Oh, that's awesome. RH
Wow,
Snow.
Rosa. Thank you.
No, that's awesome. So, all right, before this devolves into me just yelling at Daniel about his wrong-headed think, because Daniel, no, you're wrong, Daniel, you're wrong. Shadow Man, remember for a month? Oh, he said nice artwork. I did already read that one.
You did?
The Ultimate Kahuna for $1.99 says, "F you, I can back them and mock you." Oh. So he can back you guys, which I think he also pledged to you guys as well, and he's also going to send me money to make fun of me. That's money. Yeah. And the
that is a
Ultimate
Kahuna thing to do.
That is a Kahuna thing to do. The Ultimate Kahuna for $4.99 says, "Royce, that book invaluable, treated like the Book of the Dead, and don't open it." Johan, Bonsart, any friends comics you recommend? Started collecting. Do you guys have any comics from friends of yours that you recommend?
Oh, my friends.
Friends.
Well, the Jekyll Isle Chronicle, if you're interested in steampunk. Let's see. So that's also heavily inspired in American history. Holly Rosing's Boston Metaphysical Society, a very popular series. Let's see, you've got Katja Foglio's Girl Genius is a classic. Let me think, other comics. SK, he's the guy who got me into comics in the first place when I had him as my guest on the show. He has a steampunk-esque comic called Wordsmiths. I think it's a bit intended for a bit younger audience, but go check that out. So those are and also French comics. Blueberry by Mobius, of course. Techno Vaders. I really enjoyed Landvoist of Troy at the time. There's so many. Black Sad, I really enjoyed. You any suggestions, Johan?
Oh, maybe from France. I know, but maybe the Eric Hopkins comic, the Zombieful World of Oz. So he combines the zombies, the steampunk, and the Wizard of Oz. I think he shout out to Eric from my friend from the Drone and Portrait fan edition. And for the other titles, I have mentioned before the Monsters from Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda, and I think I would recommend Akira from manga.
Oh, yeah.
Akira manga, yeah.
Ooh. That's a popular one. I've heard a lot about Akira.
Yeah.
Akira,
yes.
About Akira.
And if you're looking for something more comedic, French comic wise, look into Asterix and Obelisk and Lucky Luke. Love
Asterix and Obelix is great.
Yep.
I want to read these real quick. So 10 Cage just became a member of A Drink with Crazy over on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much, 10 Cage. And he also gifted 5 A Drink with Crazy memberships as well. So that is technically 6 memberships because he became a member himself and then gifted 10 A Drink with Crazy memberships. So thank you or 5 A Drink with Crazy memberships. So sorry, my brain is not functioning. And then Maji Chan. And I'll probably leave this as the last question unless somebody super chats because I am fading very fast and Bonsart woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning to do this.
Yeah, it's 5 a.m. now.
Oh, it's 5 a.m.
Yes.
Dude, you need Maji Chan says, any advice for amateurs? So, Bonsart, Johan, any advice
for writers, well, like I said, I'm for backers. I'm currently posting presentations on writing, which I highly recommend, and you'll get access to those for just $1. You already get them. The pilot of that series is on my channel. I have a lot of videos on writing and genre writing on my channel overall, so go check those out. If you want to improve your writing overall, one exercise I recommend is instead of submitting entire short stories to proofreaders, ask people to judge 3 of your lines. Because if you make mistakes in those 3 lines, you'll probably make those same mistakes throughout the story. That's my experience. So that's how I gauge people's skill level, essentially. Just submit 3 lines, have people pick those apart. You'll learn a lot more from that than asking people to judge a story where you'll make the same mistakes over and over and over again. Honored. We also have a Discord community where I have a thread dedicated to that. And so, yeah.
Okay.
I've never heard that before, and that makes a lot of sense. Johan, any advice for amateurs?
From me, I always suggest to expand your references. So if you're a writer, you want to be a sci-fi writer, you need to write maybe history or any books, not related to the genre you are in, because it will expand your mind. I mean, the Foundation by Isaac Asimov was inspired by a history about the Roman Empire. Yeah. And if you are a comic artist, try to expand the style. If you are drawing manga, I think you can always pick reference from the American comics too, or European comics too, to expand your reference. Or if you are a comic artist that you try to, if you want to make your own comics, you write your own comics. Don't just read comics, but read novels and read other books other than comics. It will expand your story too. I think that's it.
Absolutely.
And that's
the best way to grow in any endeavor is to absorb as much of that type of thing as an author. Absorb stories. You don't necessarily have to read them. You can listen to them audiobooks. There's a whole gamut out there of ways to do it. Artists absorb different types of art. Practice different types of art, and the biggest thing is just don't quit. Lean into the process.
And network. Join Discord communities, talk with people, ask them questions. Get in contact with experienced writers. Most of them will love to help you with advice.
That's why I tell people all the time to check out
practice. Your first book is not going to be your magnum opus.
No. There are few people who can pull that off. There are very few in history who have ever pulled that off. Somehow.
Nobody's ever pulled it off. What actually happens is they'll spend a decade rewriting the same story over and over and over again until it reaches that pinnacle that they feel that it's ready, and then they hand it out. But that's the thing that you don't see. It's been rewritten. The first version is nothing like the final product in that process.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we have done it again. Bonsart, Johan, what are the final things that you want to say to our audience this evening?
As always, make things your way. Beck or Kickstarter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Radio Retrofuture. We've got a lot of videos on steampunk and writing on there and history. I want to focus more on history. And Johan, what do you?
Yeah, same with Bonsart. Make our Kickstarter so that I can live on and making comics. And you can follow me at my Instagram at johan.alexander. Yeah, Johan with a Y.
There you
That's
go.
all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. All right. And Mr. Daniel P. Riley, good sir.
What up?
Whimsyland.org, guys. Just go to whimsyland.org. I'm not even going to let him. He's too
Fine. No, I'm good. Whimsyland.org, where you can actually sit down and work with me on those questions that were just asked. How to get better at writing, how to craft your sentences, all of those things. I can sit down with you and one-on-one work it out so that you can practice it. Second thing, of course, the G Sedai comic issue number 1 is just shy of the finish line, so I'll be announcing the campaigns probably in about a week.
Yes.
Just got to get those finished up, and
just in time for Christmas.
Yes, indeed. And of course, since I mentioned it earlier, keep an eye out for When the Saints Go Marching In, because this little children's series is beautiful.
Wait,
it's so much fun to create.
Is that the one that the Boxcar Children thing kind of helped you with?
No, totally separate thing.
Okay, no, sorry, I just wasn't sure. Sorry.
Yeah, no,
the conversation around that. Yeah.
Yep. What I was talking about in the beginning of the show, the children's semi-comic about Catholic saints, we're tentatively calling it When the Saints Go Marching In.
I'm down. Oh yes, you did mention that. Sorry, I was very distracted.
I'm drunk and I can still remember what happened 2.5 hours ago.
I've had to go up and check up on children and stuff since then, and yeah.
Very nice, Daniel. I'm a Catholic too, by the way.
Well, you really?
Wonderful.
I am
glad to hear.
I am. Well, hopefully, I could still call myself that. I've not been faithful for many years. I've been getting closer, and I've been getting back to it. But that's a whole other story.
Go to confession, you'll be fine.
That's a whole other story. So, ladies and gentlemen, we did it. We finally did it. We have completed yet another Iron Age Nights. And I'm so happy to have had everybody on the show. Bonsart, Johan, thank you so much for being here. Dude, guys, I hope I wish you all the success. Johan, you are a talented artist.
Very much so.
Thank you very much.
You got
Thank you.
And Bonsart, you are as passionate as ever. And this time I noticed this time you were not scrambling to get your background together like you did before.
Yeah.
In the first,
he was all set up.
I know, he was all set up.
Yeah, because we was a half an hour late last time. Yeah.
I know. It was all right. No worries.
And he even engaged Bond villain mode, the chat noticed.
He did. Dude, you are dapper as hell, man. It's 3:00 in the morning and you show up just completely dapper. You're looking good. And here I am, my redneck self in my work jacket and a black t-shirt. I need to start dressing up for these things, man.
You need to get some culture, Royce.
I'm good.
Stop thinking Pit and the Pendulum isn't dry.
Oh my god, I'm gonna.
Well, good luck with that. If you need dressing advice, we have a very dedicated Discord to fashion. So.
I have. No, I know how I would love to dress in my daily life. I just don't have the money for it.
Oh man, you can find everything at thrift shops. You really
I
can.
hate thrift
You can
stores.
sell those.
I hate.
You can sell the
I don't
book.
like thrift. There's a reason I don't like thrift stores. We'll get into that
The
later.
book.
But ladies and gentlemen, hopefully, I have to say this. Hopefully tomorrow we will actually be playing Star Shatter. We've been the last 3 times we've tried, we've failed. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be live with Star Shatter. And until next time,
Right.
cheers, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good
Good night.